Everyone, it's Vinyl. Today, we're going to do a video essay about the state of anime games. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to do a more conformed style where I have 3 sections. And obviously the gameplay in the background you're seeing is a Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash, part of the reason this whole video exists. So, the 3 sections are going to be the reason why we don't often get good anime games, like reasons why, the issues with anime games as a whole, and why they're not so easy to get, like so easy to get good ones, that is. Then we're going to talk about potential solutions to how to get better games, and also one very simple thing is for me, what a perfect anime game, quote unquote, would look like, what my dream anime game is. So when it comes to anime games, there's a lot of issues that can arise. Now, I'm saying most anime games are bad, but this does not mean all anime games are bad. So the crux of why we get anime games such as Curse Clash that people have much issues with is something quite simple. And it is the fact that animes are not exactly permanently popular things. And most of the time that we get a good anime game, it is for a series that is well loved and has been popular for quite a while. An example of a good anime game that most people resoundingly love is Dragon Ball FighterZ. But what anime does that entail? Dragon Ball FighterZ. A very big, like one of the most well-known animes of all time. Most people that don't even know anime know Dragon Ball Z. I know some people that call Dragon Ball Z a cartoon, or just Dragon Ball in general a cartoon, because they didn't think it was an anime because they watched it as a kid. Moving forward though, there's also the fact that most animes, as time goes on, popularity goes down. So I made this graph here. You can see by the years, we're using JJK as an example, but by the years, it goes up and it goes down, right? And games take a very long time to make. So when I know from experience, I'm in fact developing games, and making games for fun even takes forever, let alone like simple ass games too. Not games like this. Games like this would take way longer. But it really comes down to simple things like just popularity going down over time. You have animes like Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan received 1 game for season 1, and when season 2 came out, obviously the next game came out. While they could, in theory, start working on a game that would come out later, they would also continue to have to add more content, in theory, based on the anime, depending on where the anime is. It is in the fact that most anime games follow a conjunction with the anime, not with the anime and manga, like the JoJo games do. JoJo All-Star Battle, JoJo Eyes of Heaven, both have manga characters, therefore they're able to make a good game with every single character that they want to be in the game immediately, because they do manga and anime characters, versus most of these games, which come out with just anime characters. Even Jump Force had, I think, was anime only, and obviously that's another very hated game. But it really just comes down to the fact that popularity is a crux in anime games. It takes a long time to develop a game, and if an anime just randomly becomes popular, the anime may be dead, or something, let's say something happened in an episode. Let's say, for example, let's just use Attack on Titan. Some people don't like the ending, right? Let's say the ending was so bad in Attack on Titan, like people hated it so much that Attack on Titan's popularity after it ended went down. It didn't, obviously, but let's say that's what happened. Right? Let's say it just skyrocketed downwards. People hated it now. Well, now nobody's going to buy the game. So it's a very risky process, and not many companies are willing to take that risk, which is fair. But I think that is really the crux of the issue, is just the simple fact that popularity goes up and down over time, and there's no judging how quickly that popularity is going to move around, and they need to be able to make a game and strike that iron while it's still hot. Solutions. There are honestly not that many solutions. The biggest one, in my opinion, would be jump games. So, the special thing about making a jump compatible game, or like a jump collaboration game, is that it has a bunch of animes, and you can drag people in from everywhere around just the idea of anime, like the anime fandom in general, not specifically one anime. Like Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash is trying to bring in Jujutsu Kaisen fans, not anime fans. With the Jump game, if you bring in enough IPs, some people will come for one IP. For example, with Jump Force, my whole thing, I didn't even like JoJo yet, but I saw gameplay of Dio, because I was just looking at random gameplay, and I saw a guy playing Dio, and I was like, holy, that looks awesome. I bought Jump Force for Dio specifically. I just wanted to play Dio, and I also fell in love with JoJo from that point. But still, I was brought into new fandoms. I just literally would go there to play the fandoms that I wanted to, and every character was fleshed out properly in a fun and exciting way. At least for me. I like Jump Force. A lot of people don't. I did. But it's the fact that you're able to bring in people from all over at the anime community instead of just one singular anime. And two, you have more time to flesh it out. So if you can throw in a popular anime within there, people will come just because they love that popular anime, but then they'll realize, oh, hey, this anime is in there too. This anime is in there too. Or people who don't really watch anime anymore, but still kind of like some of the old animes they used to watch will be like, oh, hey, that's cool. That anime is in the game, so I can come in and jump in. So really, most of the solution comes down to just make a jump game. Well, I also think that they can't keep making arena fighters. Now, with jump games, the only two I really know of was All-Star, I think, no, was it called All-Star Battle? No, that's JoJo. It was called Jump Stars, J-Stars or something like that. And that was similar, obviously not the same, but it was similar to JJK Curse Clash. It was a 2v2 based game with Jump. I know the mechanics were different. I never played the game personally, so I would not properly know. But then there's also Jump Force, which is another arena fighter. I think the greatest ways they could step in is just look at what anime fans create with modding. A great example, people are going to get mad, but a great example is the fact that League of Legends has a bunch of anime mods. If you look up JJK mods for League of Legends, they are everywhere. You can get Gojo as Ezreal, you can get Toji as somebody, I don't honestly know them all, but I know you can get Toji, you can get Yuji as Set, you can get quite a few characters, and that shows that there's a market for people wanting an anime-based MOBA. Now, would it necessarily have to be exactly like League? I don't know, but still, things like that. Something me and my friends often talk about is a great idea, which is take Smash Bros, a platform fighter, and make it a jump game. Give characters just small little movesets, give them references, give them ultimates, and just let people smack around, have fun. 4 players, all on the couch. People would love that. Anime games are great for on the couch. 2 people, me and my friend, I used to go over to his house all the time, and we used to sit down and we used to play Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's a great couch game, just smacking each other around. I love watching people play Dragon Ball Z as well on YouTube, like Thero, if anybody knows him. Great YouTuber, actually. But anime games have a big place that is misinterpreted and misused because people will just jump in because, oh look, hey, that's the character I like, or that's the anime I like. Now it has a game, let's go play that game. But if they actually made good games, they'd be able to keep people around for longer, right? Like I would stick around for a good 2D fighter, a 2D fighter, especially like a 2D fighter like Dragon Ball FighterZ, like Mortal Kombat style, quote unquote, would be great. I would love a 2D fight, a jump 2D fighter. Are you kidding me? Imagine just having that, having random character interactions, having Gojo just fight Goku in a 2D fight. Like, that's awesome. The Mugen games are even more proof of that. If you've ever seen a Mugen game where it's like the pixelated, I don't have footage. I'm also too lazy to grab some. But search up a Mugen game, like on Game Jolt or something, and you'll see what I mean. Mugen games have potential. People love Mugen games, and it's a 2D fighting game. That would be pretty cool if you're asking me personally. But I really also would just love a platform-based fighter like Smash. I could just imagine all the different maps, all the different arenas. Like you could have literally a domain expansion as an arena. You could do so many things. You'd have a domain expansion. You could have iconic areas from iconic animes like Hidden Leaf Village, or really just anywhere. You'd have the Tournament of Power. Like there's so many things that it could do if it was a platform-based fighter. So I really do hope we get one eventually. I doubt we will. But those are really my solutions, or at least my thoughts on what it could be done. I also just think new styles in general. Like I said, the platform fighter, the 2D fighter, we need more of those. We need less arena fighters that can be thrown together pretty quickly. Even if it's a pretty simple 2D fighter, I think people will just be happy to see a 2D fighting game again, rather than a 3D fighter. And it could be JJK, it could be JoJo, like it could be really any verse. I think everyone would just be happy to see it. But either new style of game, we either need a new style of game, or we need a jump game that's also probably a new style, but a jump game, because a jump game is able to bring everyone together. Last off, we've got what would I call my quote-unquote perfect anime game. For me, I would love a almost cyberpunk style RPG. I'm going to use Jujutsu Kaisen as my example because for me it's just so popular. People know it. I've played a decent chunk of or I've watched all of JJK. I've read all of JJK. I know the system pretty well. But just imagine you load in, you get to make your own custom character. You can just be a human or a curse. If you pick curse, you can either be an incarnate. I guess that would technically be a human, but you can either be an incarnation of a curse, or you can be a curse like Jogo or like Mahito. Or you can be a human, and if you're a human, you can be a sorcerer or you can be a curse user, right? And that will just change up the story. Even if it's like an okay story, I would love a gameplay focused, open world, multiplayer, custom character RPG. Obviously, please keep in mind, me saying a perfect anime game means this would be able to just exist like immediately. I'm not saying like I understand that like I'm not trying to contradict myself in what I said. I still believe like this would never exist, but if I could have it immediately, this is what I would be looking for. But just imagine having like the 10 Shadows could make an entire game on their own. A 10 Shadows based curse technique game. You could have it your skill tree, right? And you unlock parts of your skill tree by completing subjugation rituals on your own accord, finding an arena and just summoning the new thing that you need to fight, building your way up to Maharaga. That would be so fun, in my opinion. And like just the idea you could have your own skill, you could have your technique skill tree, you could have your own skill tree, and then you could have your sorcerer cursed energy skill tree, right? Where it would teach you how to do things like Black Flash, simple things like that. Xbox and PC, not Xbox, but like console and PC, and how they would do that is, in my opinion at least, you would have ability wheels. You would be able to hit, let's say you're on a controller, you'd be able to hit RB to be able to switch through your wheels, and then you would hold RT to activate your wheel and then use them, kind of like Spider-Man did. Or you could do RB and LB if you're on Xbox, or R1, L1 if you're on PlayStation, etc. But you would be able to have 8 abilities and you'd be able to choose between all of your abilities. But imagine just encountering people, different curse techniques, different abilities, and different obtainment methods for things. I think it could just make such an interesting game by just making an open world and RPG with a skill tree. Like imagine like developing things like Black Flash. Oh, your curse technique that you really like. Let's say you're using Nanami's technique because you're like, this is my favorite kind of technique. I like the 7-3 technique. You don't have a domain expansion? Well, that's good. Go into your sorcery skill tree and develop new shadow style simple domain. You know, things like that. There would be so much you could do. How you would be able to switch between curse techniques, I don't know. I would say you'd only be able to use one at a time in your wheel, but if you gained, let's say you had 3 sets of XP, you had personal XP, sorcery XP, and technique XP. If you got 10 technique levels, so you had 10 technique points, if you switched curse techniques, you would still have those 10 technique points to pour into your new curse technique. But imagine having to like, oh, you can use Limitless, but you don't have 6 eyes until you go and you do like some sort of mission or some sort of quest to unlock the 6 eye. I think they could do so much if they just did some sort of open world style RPG. Obviously, this is asking so much. I would never expect it. But some sort of open world, you know, RPG, even doing this like, doing it with Jump too. Like imagine being able to choose your attack style, your powers, and then like something else, right? So imagine like this awesome sort of just like some awesome sort of game where you're just, oh, you attack with curse energy style. So let's say the perk of using curse energy is you have a chance to do a Black Flash, which is a critical hit, right? So it's like relatively slow compared to some attack styles, and it's not as acrobatic, but you have a chance to hit a critical hit when you're using curse energy melee style. Or let's say you're using, let's see what else I know. I guess we'll say if you're using like Taijutsu, right, from Naruto, you have a chance to evade attacks while like, if you like attack, if you're attacking, you have a chance to evade an attack, and your attack lands and theirs doesn't. Or like you just have an overall passive that allows you to evade attacks easier, things like that. You'd have different styles of dodging. So you could have like flash step. You could have for if you're, let's say, you could use the rabbit. I forget what it's fully called, but like escape rabbit that Megumi uses, and that would be your dodge. So it would kind of be like a block and a dodge at the same time. You could have a regular dash. You could have a teleport style dash, as I said, kind of flash step, things like that. But there could be like just so many stylistic choices that completely change up how people play this RPG jump game. Meeting your favorite characters, learning techniques from them, learning new skills. There's so much you could do. Imagine like learning like Sukuna's curse technique, but at the same time you're like flipping around and doing crazy acrobatics like you're in I don't even know what anime anymore, but like let's say you have like Sukuna's curse technique, but you're moving like you have One for All, or you're moving like you have explosion. That would be so cool, right? Or using One for All and moving around like you have flash step, moving around like you're from Bleach, yet you're fighting with One for All. That'd be so cool. It'd be so fun. But that's really the end of my perfect anime game. I'm not gonna rant on for too long. I don't want this video to be too long. In conclusion, anime games really struggle due to the fact that popularity is not an easy thing to truly come by. No piece of fiction is popular forever. But in the same vein, there are solutions to that issue by just mixing IPs together in a collaboration. And perfect games good anime games can exist. They're just very hard to come by, and they are not often found. And I'm going to end this video here. Let me know your thoughts if you feel the need to. Nevertheless, no interaction, whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you also agree that there's potential for good anime games, but it isn't an easy thing to pull off. I'm not trying to necessarily say that it's fair enough that we get what we get, but I don't think that it's an easy thing to get super good anime games in this day and age. But that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.